of November 3rd. I don't think we have those.
They haven't been produced yet.
Okay. So the next item is the treasurer's report. I am the treasurer. I do have a report this month. General expense account, $2,168. Town farm expense account was not reported to me. Trust funds, WHC trust fund, $21,754. The town farm trust fund has $31,760, and the Wolf Pit School Trust has $9,294. Do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. So applications for certificate of appropriateness, 1878D Drift Road. Charlene Brock is presenting. Solar panels on roof. So what materials do we have?
You have something in front of you from Sunrun. This is their array that they'd like to install. And then I sent everyone the site plan that was created by Sunrun, which was a screenshot of the GIS maps relative to other homes. And then the other one picture they sent was just one photograph from the front, and it's not really clear how it relates to the other properties nearby. So I think we have, the applicant's going to show us some photographs because we did not get any in advance.
Yeah, no, someone maybe, I'm 85, please excuse me.
No, it's fine.
I can't get this array to fan out.
Yeah, we can do
No,
that.
I think I have them on my laptop.
Oh, did they send them to you? Because that's, I've been counting on them sending you everything.
Yeah.
And so you have more information from them than you ever get from me. I don't understand it all.
Is she plugged in? Can they hear her?
These are all.
Oh, okay. It's a lot of them.
I haven't said anything yet that's worth hearing about.
John?
About this.
You can get it big too.
Oh, good. Yeah, you could just click on it.
This
and
is
it should
better
open
than,
it up.
yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, this is a very good one, Jeff.
So this is the one picture that they did send me, which is a very, just an image of one perspective. And it's the front, if you guys can see.
Yeah, I think that the important thing to start with is where this house is. So that, I think that's and so.
I have this picture of the entryway. Do you want to have this up?
So I have this. This is the assessor's map. So this house. Okay, so I'll show it to this side and then to the other side. So here's 88, and
He's going to do yours next.
here's Main Road, and there's this complex of houses back in this area, which is accessed by a private road. And the house in question is, I'm actually not sure, is it this one or this one?
It's the first house on the right coming out of the woods.
As you're coming from, I think this is the wooded area, so it would be, I think this one, but that looks too big. It might be this one here, in the corner there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's
It's not identified on the map.
not so important, but it's one of these two houses. If we need to nail it down, we can. Anyway, it's So in principle, it's visible from 88 if all the vegetation were gone. There's a lot of vegetation there now, so I think you can't actually see it. And similarly for Main Road, there's quite a bit of vegetation here You can see it from this corner of Drift Road. You can look across, barely see the cottage. Okay, so that's where it is.
Garrett, what is that relationship to the one that we approved last,
Yeah, Martha Slate's house is
right there?
here, so you see
Okay.
it's quite a bit closer to
Right.
Main Road. Okay.
So Mark needs to see an explanation.
So, do you want to point out to me?
Yeah, so this is an enclave that's accessed from Lower Drift Road, which is a private road, but here's 88. So assuming there was no vegetation, you could look across and see these houses, and she's in this little group here. So that's why we have jurisdiction, but you can't actually see the house.
It's on Drift Road?
It's on Lower Drift Road, which is that turn off as you come up Hotel
May I
Yes.
Hill.
speak to the,
You see.
Yeah, why don't you
take a
come up,
left,
use the
yeah.
microphone
There's a
so
little
they
enclave.
can record you.
The house is.
yeah,
Well, she's gonna present it, so let's let her do that.
is this on, is this work? Can you hear it, Dottie? Yeah. I don't know what to
It,
do.
it should be on, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Charlene Brock, and I'm trying to do solar panels on my house at Unit D of the 1878 Drift Road. Lower Drift Road is not on the GIS of the town hall, and someone, the town highwayman asserted that that is not a public road. Someone here thought it was a public road. It has never been. We bought our house in 1989. It is a private road, and it's my house is a quarter of a mile from the entrance on Drift Road, and it is when you're in that road, it's the first house on the right, and Sally Hardy's house is on the left. So my house is less visible from the highway than Sally Hardy's. So how you're seeing from the highway to Sally Hardy's house. You cannot see it from anywhere on Drift Road, and you cannot see it from the part of Drift Road that goes up by the cemetery and the church. And the Boston from the highway department said he would send, did you get that?
He did, yeah, so we're,
He did.
we're all clear.
It does not,
Lower
as far as,
Drift Road.
we maintain it, we pay for everything on that.
Yeah, let me just clarify something. Our jurisdiction covers private roads. If the private road is visible through vegetation, if the vegetation was completely gone, the road would be visible from 88.
It never would be, it's woods.
Well,
It's
okay,
not
but I'm just saying, the
landscape.
jurisdiction that we have is as if there's no vegetation. That's why we are still considering this. That's the way our bylaw works. We have to consider no vegetation. That's why this is in our jurisdiction. It's not that it's a
Well-
public way or a
Well,
private
okay,
way. That's not the
the
issue.
language that I got in some email was that they were calling it a private road.
I
so
think that's
that
just a
I-
confusion
I
about our jurisdiction.
felt that
Yeah, I
needed to be
think
clarified.
And maybe there was a little confusion about that segment of Drift Road,
Mhm.
which you might think would be called Lower Drift Road, but it's not.
Lower Drift Road
Yeah,
is
so
not a
anyway,
real,
I think there's no question that Lower Drift Road is a
doesn't
private way.
exist.
We agree
It's a
on
private
that.
way.
Oh, good,
We
okay.
can.
Yeah.
But your house is visible from Drift Road, from 88, and slightly
What part
from,
of Drift Road?
well, the corner by, where it makes a turn. And remember,
That's not my house.
No,
That is
I'm-
Unit C, that you can see from the cemetery.
so we're imagining that there's no vegetation.
No, it's that house blocks it.
No, I could see your house from,
He did it today.
yeah, I walked there today. Yeah. Anyway, I think we shouldn't get too
Okay.
caught
Let's
up on
not
this.
caught up in this, because we
Yeah.
are gonna talk about your project,
Right.
Mhm.
notwithstanding the fact that we can see.
The
it.
road thing, I focused on the road thing because it
Yeah,
was so
it's
startling.
okay, it's
Yeah.
okay, let's keep going.
It's o-
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay, so, but I think the point is that the house is, it is barely visible
Barely visible.
from any public way, you know, especially given the existing vegetation. If you know, everything were cut down, which is quite unlikely, then it would be more visible, but it's still not right next to any public way.
It's several acres of dense woods.
Yes.
I understand.
Okay, so, yeah, so let's talk about the project itself then.
Oh, this,
Just off this.
I managed to get this one now too. Is that, how do you want me to do it?
We have that picture.
Yeah,
We're good.
so you want to show to the others, I guess? That is 1878, that's the entrance to this, the disputed private road.
It's not disputed, we agree.
Or, you agree, it's, yeah, right. Well, I thought that's what you thought. Okay, and then this is design. Now you have this too.
We have that.
Yeah,
We have the
okay.
design, and
So-
there's a picture of the house itself here.
This is how the array of solar panels would go.
And where are the
onto
panels
roof.
The panels are going here. Can I just, Sean, can I just confirm with you that this picture of the actual house,
Yes, well, let's see, is that,
that the
I
that the
think
panels,
that might be my next note.
Yeah, if you could just point out where the panels will go on this photograph that was submitted to us.
Yeah, apparently they will go even on the roof of the porch. I was astonished because they said it's sufficiently strong for that. So it will, but it'll be on the front, because that would be, this is where the sun is. That is facing
that's
the
the
sun.
south facing
Yeah.
side.
So,
Darren, could you
Yes,
just put it this
okay. Down here, this is the house, that's the south facing side of the roof.
okay, shoot.
And then, I think there was, let me go back to another picture here. Yeah, I mean, there is a diagram here, you can see,
That's in the documents.
that's where
Yeah, we have that in here.
okay, so we know where the house is, we know where the panels are going. Well, let's open a public hearing. So public hearing is now open. Any comments from the public about this project? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Discussion among the commission members.
The only comment I would have is in other projects that we've approved in this same neighborhood, we've asked the homeowner to consider the roof material to be a darker material. This is clearly a light gray, and these panels will be more visible than the neighbor's panels, because the other neighbors have put either asphalt new asphalt
Mhm.
shingles, and in one case, I think they painted their roof. I don't know how that works, but they did agree to go darker. So this is the first one we've seen now where it's prominently in the front of the building, and there's no indication that the roof material is gonna change before these panels are installed. So if you would comment on that, that would be.
It's a new roof, so it's
Brand
not.
new, so there's no chance you're gonna change that roof, you just put it on.
Well,
So,
yeah, I wish we could just paint it.
I don't think you wanna paint.
I don't think you can.
Can you paint a roof in it? That's not really.
You could put some tar on it, something like that.
Well, that doesn't affect it structurally, I guess I'd go with that if it just started dripping down the walls or something.
People put coverings on roofs in Bermuda and places like that, just to. It's just,
What is it they put?
like a cement. The roofs that don't have shingles on them, they're all kind of covered tiles with cement over them. So
Oh, that doesn't
they're
sound-
painted white or whatever colour they want to paint the building.
That doesn't sound functionally very,
Well, it collects
Exactly.
water and then they use it in cisterns because they don't have lots of fresh water sources.
yeah. Yeah. It's close to the water, and I have the feeling that cement would be an unhappy combination on a roof, but that's a technical question to answer.
Question from
May I speak?
Betty Slade? Mhm.
I have to come there.
Oh, sure, come on over. You want to see the pictures?
No,
Oh,
Betty Slade. There also is this concept of discernible that you have used, and I'm wondering, will the difference in coloration be discernible if there wasn't, is the distance so great? Would it be discernible if there were no trees?
In terms of seeing the building at all, you're saying, because
And the
did,
roof?
we did approve the Windward Way roof panels, the solar panels that did not have a dark roof. Those were.
That's not a public way, so it's not subject to the same rules.
Okay, you want to join us?
Yep, sorry.
We already had a discussion, yeah.
By the way, I forgot to say at the beginning of the meeting who's present and who's voting. So Katrina, are you okay with being a non-voting member today? Because we have 8, we can't have 8 voters.
Sure.
So present and voting are Caroline Volter, Timothy Bryant, William Kendall, Garrett Stuck, Deborah Chiolfi, Ward Mooney, and Mark Thompson. And Katrina Strozik is also present, but will not be voting because we've had
Too
too
many.
many members. Not too many, but we have that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so back to this issue. I mean, to answer your question, Betty, I think it would be discernible, if you could see the house, but you can barely see the house from any public way.
Now, the panels themselves, we have okayed the panels that have a matte finish and do not have the metal edging is this what we're doing here?
This seems to be the, so this is accurate. It doesn't seem to have any
Okay,
monofacial black series.
okay. Okay, so that,
Yeah, seems to be that. I'm not sure it's the same product that was used. on
It's
this
not, the
other
other
house.
product is a different company, so we're not really sure, but it looks like they're not those ones with the window pane, white.
what I mean is it's matte, it's not a shiny
It's not
material.
shiny, I'm not sure, I think it'll say that, does it say it's not?
It doesn't,
Let's see,
it doesn't say
indication.
that,
It's a main road, it's a drift road, comes around, the cemetery's right here.
Yeah,
It's in there, yeah.
yeah, the frame is black and anodized aluminum alloy, so
You can hardly see
it's
that.
all shiny.
no, you can.
I mean,
Actually,
glass, but they're all
yeah,
glass,
coming
so there's
this way.
tempered
Yeah, and
glass.
it has an
Okay.
anti-reflective coating.
No, then that would
If
be,
you see them by Skip Nelson, you can see some of those houses.
all right.
Other comments from commission members?
Comments?
Other comments?
How visible is it?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I walked along Main Road today. I walked down Drift Road, and I really had to look hard to even figure out which building it was.
Yeah.
And those views, I mean, the views from Drift Road are from the north, so you wouldn't see the panels on the south side anyway.
It's very tough to actually look at the buildings as you're driving on 88, so just a glimpse, and these things are not going away.
Right.
And the house is, what, built in the 1940s,
50, I think.
50s, so,
Yeah.
it's, unfortunately, it's a fact of life. And it's not on the main street, which obviously would have a greater visibility. I'm okay with it.
The other thing I want to just mention is all the neighbors were notified of this hearing, and we haven't heard anybody object to this. And I think that's probably the most
Yeah.
sensitive, is the neighbors themselves, and there's no one objecting. to
Well,
this.
they're gonna see it from within.
And they're gonna see it
compound,
every day,
yeah.
yeah. So that's a factor, because the other ones that we consider are on public ways, which is a little bit,
You see them popping up all over the place on Country Woolens, you've got them, and that's a great example of like, that's not particularly attractive, but they're not going away, and further up on Main Road, you see them.
Is it on the main home or is it on a?
it's on the main home, it's on the main home.
And it's visible
Right
from
on
the
the
main
front
road?
porch.
I couldn't see it from Main Road, actually.
The panels would be on this part, which is the front of the home, but the home itself is in a very protected area, so.
I don't know, you came in after we were looking at a map. But did you look at the assessor's map?
That's what I'm looking at now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing.
Well, here's an aerial You can test it. You review.
And
And it
here's
shows
another
you-
indication of where it is in relation to other homes. It's right around the curve.
Mhm.
So it's,
Is Drift Road a private way?
it
Lower
is, that
Drift
lower
Road
drift road is a private
It's
way.
private.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it's not visible from Main Road, then I think it would be a CNA, right? A
No,
certificate of
because
applicability. No.
Because without vegetation, it's clearly visible from 88, from Drift Road, possibly from Main Road. So there's no question about our jurisdiction and whether it requires a C of A. Not in my mind anyway.
Yeah, it's appropriate to ask for CA, so that we're considering it as a certificate of appropriateness.
Where on 88 is it?
Well, again, if you cut down all the trees,
Oh,
then
yeah,
all those
really.
houses back there are visible.
Yeah, you really can't see because of the trees.
That's what I heard on 88 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I think the one thing that you could say in favor is the roof itself is a very low angle,
Mm.
so it will not be presenting itself in an inefficient way. This looks to me as though it's closer to an effective angle for a reception
Mhm.
for the sound, but it doesn't seem to present itself more pointedly as a signpost, whether a road
Mhm.
piece.
All right.
I'm sorry, I really couldn't hear what was being said without.
Well, the angle of the roof itself is not very great, so the presentation of it will not be like this, with the full panel showing. It's more laying down, just thinking in terms of all the criteria that you have to look at. And none of them are just burning hot, saying no. They all seem to be allowing some,
Tolerance.
some bit of tolerance. Yes.
Okay.
Well, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the solar panels.
Second,
Okay, let's do a roll call vote, starting with Mark.
I approve.
So, Mark Thompson, aye, okay.
Ward, aye, Renee.
Aye.
Deborah Chialvi, aye.
Jared Stuck, aye.
William
Timothy
Kendall,
Bryant.
aye.
Timothy Bryant, aye.
Caroline Bolger, aye.
Okay.
Unanimous.
Oh, thank
Passes
you.
unanimously.
It's a lot to absorb, and I appreciate it. And I don't think I gave you all this stuff remotely, but I have, the person was going to come with me who could have answered your questions
Right.
too.
We've
And
been
he-
corresponding with
He
Sunrun.
called me at 5 o'clock and said he couldn't come.
Yeah, and we've been corresponding with them, Katie and Brian.
Yeah,
So
you had all of them
we're in
working.
contact with them.
Right.
So what's gonna happen next is your certificate will be issued tomorrow and it will be sent to the building department so they can finish their permit process. They've already begun the permit process and building department was waiting for this meeting. So
So
now
then-
that can be completed.
So then, do you send it to me, to my principal?
You'll have a copy too,
To
but
my
the
principal,
most
home, do you
important.
have my, this is,
Yeah, we
a-
have your address per the application.
that should be, I hope it is,
I can tell you.
180 Washington Street, Newton, Mass. Because I don't get.
No, you put it on 1878 Drift Road, so if you want a
Could you
different
send it to my
address.
principal? I'm not here at
We
this time of
can
year.
do that. I'll get your address.
It's truly a summer house.
I have your email. I'll get your address and send it to
Yeah.
you.
All right, should
Okay.
we do that later?
I
or-
can do it by email with you.
Oh, by email, wonderful, thank
Okay,
you.
great.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right, thanks.
Before you leave, we need monitors.
These monitors.
Who would like to be a monitor to this project?
Any volunteers for monitors? Ward, do you want to monitor?
I'll be happy to be a monitor.
Ward will monitor. Mark, do you want to monitor?
Just read what you want.
You need two, but you and Ward can share the
Sure, I'll do it.
responsibility.
It can be read.
Great,
This is
okay.
at 1878 Drift Road.
Yep.
Okay.
So what does that mean,
So
having
what
a
that,
monitor?
so the monitors are the people who sort of keep an eye on your project as it's
Oh,
going
wonderful.
on. And what you need to do is let us know when work is about to start, and you can do that with an email to Deborah. And And then you let us know if anything comes up in the middle of the project that might require a change, and then you let us know when the project is done.
Okay, because I won't be in residence, and so I will be monitoring it remotely just as but I'm in close contact with the people.
Yeah, we'll let your contractor know. They
contractors
should know that they need to let us know when the project starts, when it ends, and if they're interested.
Maybe they contact you directly?
Yes.
So what's the contact for them? Do they have them?
We have them too.
You
We
have
have their emails.
Yeah,
and
so
their phone.
you'd be contacting them.
Brian and Katie, yes.
If your monitors found something they wanted to, they would contact the contractors directly. So, but maybe tell me too what's going on, then, okay, yeah.
So we should get Ward and
That's very nice,
others
thank
to
you.
sign on
Hi,
this.
how are you?
Sign off. Anyway.
Hi, Sean.
No. You don't need me to stay.
No, we're all set.
Oh, very
We're
good.
good, thank you.
I guess I'm next.
Yeah, hold on a second. So, yeah, let's send that back. I think we just need to
No.
sign
Sign off on this. So we're good.
Hi, I'm Yvonne Barr from the Westport Historical Society.
Wait a minute, Yvonne.
What's that?
So the next item on our agenda is renovations, preliminary review renovations to Harbor Master's building.
Oh,
So you're not.
Okay.
not the harbor master.
Okay. And
You can be if you'd like to.
Yvonne, can you just wait until we're ready for you? Otherwise, we'll.
Okay, why don't
Oh,
I
yeah.
hand these to you and you can simply
Okay.
you just pass them out?
Yeah.
But Yvonne, the harbor master is next.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
A
okay.
little out of order on the agenda. That's okay. We'll call you up after that. Is she next after him? Or is it no? It's still another-
Not quite.
Not quite. All right, just.
So Chairman Stuck, members of the commission, good evening. Thank you for taking the time and happy holidays. I am Bill Chase. I'm the Director of Marine Services, the harbor master here in town. I've been in this position since the 2nd of July. And one of the biggest concerns that I have in this department is the condition of the building that we operate out of. I think most of you are probably familiar with it. It's a very small building, right down at Westport Point, and it is in terrible condition. Admittedly, I am a rank novelist when it comes to matters of this arena. So I set out to try to fund this project in any way that I could. I started with CIPC. I asked them for $100,000. That is still being considered. I don't know quite where we are in that discussion. I know that there will be some decisions made very soon about all of that. Where I could not guarantee that we would get some of that money, I decided to reach out to CPC and see if that would be a better route, maybe a better fit. All of that aside, I don't know what your requirements are to rehab this building, assuming we can come up with the money. And I know that's in a historical district, and obviously I have to abide by the rules of this commission. So I guess I'm here on kind of a fact-finding mission, just to see what I need to do. One of the biggest concerns that I have is that in order to provide a reasonable estimate of these costs, I need to know what requirements all of you have before I can say, okay, contractor XYZ said he can do it for $50,000. Well, that is meaningless unless you weigh in and say, 50,000 is not going to do it. So I need to know what I need to do to satisfy the commission so that I can come up with a reasonable estimate for whichever way we find that we can fund this. So that's why I'm here tonight. I guess it's more of an advice and consent thing. I'm just looking for information.
Are you going to expand the building at all?
I don't think so, Mr. Moody. I don't think there is a need for it. My understanding is if you go down that road, it brings in a whole bunch of other players that we would have to satisfy. I think when you consider the mission of the harbor master and the Marine Services Department, the size of the building is big enough. But I'm really afraid that if we put this off much longer, we'll be doing more than just replacing shingles and trim the roof. I think we're very lucky right now that there's no leak inside the building. It seems to be relatively watertight, but it does have roof shingles missing. The trim is rotting. The shingles are curling up. The windows are beyond drafty. So it needs some work, and it needs it soon. So before I can come up again with a reasonable estimate of cost, I need to know what requirements you will have.
So I think, so our mandate is to make sure that architectural changes in the district are appropriate to the district. And so that's what we would be looking for is that the siding material would be appropriate. So shingles most likely. The roofing material, we have limited say in that. But we have say over things like trim boards, dimensions of windows, the kinds of windows that you could put in. But basically, I mean, if you look up and down the street, you can kind of see what we are aiming for, to sort of preserve, the look and feel that's appropriate to the point.
And I applaud that.
I want to give you this guideline, because this is really easy to understand, and it's something we able to give you an indication of the kinds of things that you would want to do.
Okay.
So that helps.
Thank you.
Can you say from the foundation up rather than roof down, is there rot in any of the contact of the base of the building with stone or concrete?
I cannot answer that question, sir. It doesn't have a foundation per se. It basically sits on stilts, I guess, for lack of a better term, because it does flood down there from time to time.
And you're saying that the floodwaters have reached at least the floor and the connections?
I haven't physically seen that happen, but just by looking at any tide gauge, you would have to say that at some point it probably did get wet.
Yeah. But I think one of the most important pieces of the issue that you bring up is it worth just putting new siding on or a new roof on? Because foundation is really the weak point in the whole project. And it's likely to be a problem. And that it's just, so to speak, been out in the rain for as long as it has. And it probably wasn't a great construction piece to start with.
Well, I believe this building was designed by Chip Gillespie, who was a friend of mine back in the day. He was an architect on a pretty high level. Yeah, this is not just a shack that was knocked together by the guys over at the highway department. This was properly designed. Although I doubt that Chip could have envisioned that the water would have gotten up to that height during that time period.
Another applicant came before us a little while ago, and she did a whole study about the water rising, and she wanted to apply to bring her building up, I think a foot. Was it Dorothy Paul? She had a whole study attached to her project. I mean, we could probably find that in our record and see what she used to determine if she was at risk. If she was at risk for floodwaters, and maybe you could look at the same kind of study to see if maybe you do need to raise it. I mean, I know the Papachuck got flooded a couple times last year. You're in the same line of fire, right, with the floodwaters coming in.
Probably close to the same height, I suspect.
So that could be something you'd look into to see if you would need to raise it at all.
I guess from my perspective, it really depends on who has to pay for this and how much can be afforded, right? So if it's really just about basic maintenance of what's there, I would stick with keeping it simple and, replace, rotted boards or what have you. I think raising that building is significant cost to the town, and I think that that's gonna be a lot more difficult for you to get funding for. Maybe you can, that's great, but if you're just looking to make sure you don't get rained on and maybe it's a little warmer in the winter time, don't bite off too much, but I'm pretty conservative in terms of how I would approach it, and that's personally how I would handle it.
I
But
think you pretty much described where I am coming from, as far
What
as
is
this goes.
on your wish list?
What is on my wish list? Well, first of all, I'd like to have some reliable heat inside the building.
You have no heat?
We have 2 little electric heaters to heat that building that is still pretty drafty. And when you consider where it is, the wind has a certain velocity.
I know it well, so.
We have no purview over the interior, though. That'd be
No.
completely.
Oh, I know, but when someone says winter
Right.
wish list, so I'd like to be warm on
I mean,
the
What
inside.
is on
It's
the
a different-
agenda?
Wait a minute, but this, man, this is not just for that purpose. It's not just a preview, it is also giving advice to the CPC. The CP does have purview over the interior. So you have, if you could, this has become difficult because,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just to clarify, yeah.
yeah,
So this project is actually on the agenda twice.
yes.
Once for preliminary review, which involves things that we would have some say about. So windows, for example, or shingles or trim. The other agenda item is relative to our advisory role to the CPC, whether we're able to say to the CPC, yes, this is a valuable project, it's a valuable building, and this is a project that we would endorse in terms of preserving that building. So the two different things that,
But it
Our
also has a
discussion.
third role,
Okay.
because if he's trying to go to CIPC, he has to do it correctly as far as the historical commission is concerned. And so he has to have the funding, as she mentioned, that's available. He has to ask for that kind of funding. That 100,000 would cover, I'm sure, what you recommend. It sounds like it's just repair of a not-so-historic building, but it's in the historic district, so that's the complication. And we don't get a recommendation tonight, then you cannot, we don't want you to present in December. Or you could present in December and without a recommendation, but we would require one by January. Would that help? So you could come back in December.
Sure,
At the
but
end of
we have
January,
to have something more concrete to make a recommendation on.
Yes, that's what I didn't know that, I didn't know what he had presented, so that's the problem, it's not concrete enough. So if you could give him advice, as far as you're concerned, what your purview is and what you think should be done, you can't do that, whatever he's asking for.
Yeah.
And that would give us some idea at CPC this month of what the project is and sort of the cost. Because this year we really have a lot of applications to CPC, so every penny counts. So you should do the things that are most important.
Well, if you wanted to talk about a wish list, I think just the basic roof siding, trim, windows, and doors, that would satisfy us for some time to come.
I think that would satisfy us also,
Yes.
because what you're saying is you just want to keep it the way it is,
Yes.
and just renew the surfaces, the
Yes.
materials. Okay,
And also, we would be adding on a heat pump for
sure,
some,
sure.
and some insulation as well, because there's none.
Well, I can't see that we would have any problem with that, except we would like to know if you're gonna put a new door, what type of door it is. If you're putting in new windows, we wanna be very careful about the type of window you're putting in, so it's very similar to what's there. I actually don't know what's there, but
It's it's a very simple
Yeah,
building.
right,
Would you
right.
have ADA access in this new building?
I
Or a
have
ramp
talked-
of some type?
You have
or-
talked about the AD access with Jim Hartnett. That would be quite a structure when you consider the rate of elevation. I would almost have to wrap around the building.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Do you need ADA access for that building?
I'm just asking if he needs it. I
I
don't know.
honestly don't know if that
Is it
is
public
a
building?
requirement.
When I
or
come
not.
in to see you, usually you meet me at the door. It's very rare that I would go into the building to conduct business, so I don't know if that's a requirement.
Well, I would say that the steps, as they currently exist, are basically a couple of pieces of granite. So whatever we do needs to be upgraded to some level. Whether it has to go to ADA or not, I'm just not sure.
You can find that out by contacting the state access board. They can tell you immediately.
Mark, in your experience, what would trigger?
Well, I think that the real issue is once you have whatever means of egress is in line with the ADA regulations, is the building actually, with whatever furnishings you need, is there actually a 5-foot radius that would allow you to turn those who would use this on the ramp, and so would probably be in a wheelchair. So is there a 5-foot radius once that person is in for him to turn around and egress? Because if.
I think the answer to that
As
is,
I remember you are.
yeah, I think the answer to that is yes.
Is it? But I also would say one other thing about the construction. Because when you start a project, and it's not been clarified as to how the basic building is attached to the grade and all of the things that can really absorb water that you don't see day in, day out, those will be discovered. And then you could end up having to go back and go through this whole process again. So what I would advise is that you have some investigation, not just of the roof and things that we will have some control of, but the things that make this building a good investment for any community, hopefully to live on in a useful manner for some time.
You can count on that.
That investigation is simple, but it really needs to be done.
Well, we actually talked about the underpinnings in the context of insulation. So if you're going to insulate, the roof and the sidewalls, you've obviously got to put something under there as well. And then it gets to the point of, is it going to get wet? What if it gets wet? Is it going to destroy it? So these are the kind of the open questions, I guess, that we still have. But I will certainly look into that. Thank you for that.
I know that this is not going to be a consonant with what this condition. But I think you're going to find out that it would be much less expensive to replace the building, even at a level of detail that really that is appropriate to the responsibility we have. But that may not be what we should be doing with the building that's part of the community that will want to. We need the harbor master's shack. That's hardly building, going for a very long period of time as far as the responsibilities you have grown over the years. I'm aware of that as a secret. I think we just need to have a clear idea of what the whole project entails from the beginning.
So I think that if it's an existing building, I think that the rules around ADA are a little bit different. If you're gonna tear it down and start over, then I think that
No one's advising of that.
it's different. Okay, I mean, I don't wanna make a mountain out of a molehill here. We're talking about siding, trim, windows, roofing. I mean, we wanna do the right thing, a door, but, I think we have to be pragmatic about how is the building used. We definitely can ask what is legal, but, if there's a line for CPC money, I think we should be pragmatic about what's necessary so that we can make the project sizable to actually get the important pieces done. You know, I guess I'm just a little concerned. We shouldn't make this bigger than it needs to be.
I'm afraid when we get into it, we may find that it will become bigger if there is rot, which is not uncommon. I have a shed just about the size. Last month, we had this similar situation where they decided, I think, to just take the shed down and move it. It was 90 degrees to its original position.
Talking about the last meeting, 2038 Main Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those sheds are both being demolished and one of them will be rebuilt.
Replaced.
Yeah.
Because they will then be more durable, we can mimic what you see as the.
Right, right.
But I don't think the building is dilapidated the way that those sheds were. It's a building that people work in. It's not a garden shed to store tools that's, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's part of Mark's question is what is the real state of the building? Like, I mean, if you start looking at the sills and the foundation, I mean, is it all rotted? I mean, or is it, as you describe, just sort of a cosmetic thing? I think that's a question that we don't really know the answer to.
Excuse me, I don't either, and that concerns me.
Would you
So you
have-
start tearing it down and looking inside deeply, it's tough to make any assumptions. But that is clearly a risk.
May I say something?
Timothy wanted to say something.
Sorry, I just was thinking if you were going to sell a property, you would probably have somebody do an assessment of it. So you'd have a building report. It's almost like if you had a building report done on your building, you at least have that information to help it begin with an assessment of what you would need to do to renovate it. And then you would develop a scope of work, and then you would have a builder give you an estimate on that work. And I think then you start to help the cause.
Well, you can make the argument that I put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
But again, I have to declare ignorance in some of these matters. But I think that's very good advice.
I mean, I think that's, and then you have that report, you can distribute that to all the people who are, interested parties, and they can then have a better understanding of what you're discussing. Because we don't have any information. And I've been down there and I've seen it, but I can't bring it to my mind, what the flood levels are and what the investment is needed. It sounds like it could be quite expensive when it's $150,000 to put a ramp on another building. It could be an expensive proposition.
Well, the ADA would only be if it's required.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I
so
know.
we were trying to figure out if there's a trigger point that you suddenly have an ADA requirement.
I think if you go more beyond 50% of the work on the building, it depends on how many square feet it is.
Right.
That triggers another response. It's not, you could say it's grandfathered, I suppose. Or go to the building department and ask them.
Yeah, they would.
Betty, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say that
Do you want to come and sit or stand?
that Lee's Wharf was approved, completely approved. You know it's going to flood. There was never any discussion at that time. In fact, everything down there is going to flood.
For sure.
For sure. Not too far along, in a few years. So this is an issue all over the state.
Right.
But I don't think that starting with the Harbor Master Shack and saying it has to do something without this being resolved should be the mission of the commission. Oh,
No, I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
saying that. I mean, I think what we're saying, what I'm hearing is that before putting money into renovating it, we need to make sure that it's actually sound, right? That it's not rotting at the base. Because putting a new roof and new shingles on something that's rotting at the base.
It'll last a few years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll last a few years.
That's similar to my house.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I going to do? Raise my house? That's the only answer. So it's a big problem.
It is.
But I think that with the Harbor Master Shack, they're trying to be more comfortable. and to make it look better, at least for 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, and then we face these issues. And I don't think that this is not something that CPC has considered, of course, in the past. We've looked to you for the historic buildings. But I think it would be, CIPC would never, I mean, they don't have the money, the town doesn't have the money. This is a town building. So there are a lot of complex issues here, unfortunately.
Well, I think it would, I mean, it would be very helpful to just have a, like even a home inspector, I don't know if that's the.
Basically, that's what I was suggesting.
Yeah, which is, I mean, fairly short money. To just have someone come in, crawl around the foundation, you know, tap with a mallet and you know, figure out what's the real condition of that building.
Before we take the next step.
Yeah, before taking the next step.
Well, at least to help you define your scope of what you do need to do, either to make it resilient to water inundation and or, you know, create heat for you that's not gonna fly out the windows on the roof that's sound so it doesn't get any worse damage. I mean, you sort of have to come up with your scope based on what you learn. And then we can certainly look at it and give you feedback.
Have you talked to the building department?
I have not. I've had 2 contractors come down and look at it, and basically what they've done is said, you know, I can do the shingles and the trim and the roof and so on and so forth for, I think we're up to $47,000 right now. That's all of that plus a heat pump and insulation. So that is the number that not the original number that I went to CIPC with, but that's the updated number that I gave to Jim Honda after those 2 estimates were done. But I can see we really kind of have put the cart before the horse here. You know, we don't want to put a Band-Aid on something that doesn't need it. It shouldn't get it, I should say.
Did those contractors have any thoughts about the soundness of the building?
One of them said, boy, I'd love to know what's going on underneath. So, yeah. So I think that, you know, my approach to this has been, I'm not gonna say knee-jerk, but when you look at the condition of the building, and, I mean, that's a town office. It's not just the Harbor Master Shack, that is a town office. And it's a mess right now. It really needs to get squared away. So I guess I kind of jumped down this path first and foremost to try to fix an obvious problem. But I can see from your comments that we need to do a little bit more investigation before we move on.
I think also, as Tim is suggesting, a report, so that there's a document that we can all refer to, the various fundraising, approval,
And that report could help significantly in at least helping to document the scope of work with just someone marking off a PDF. If you have good photography of the exterior, then you can create your scope of work by saying you're going to replace this window with this and this shingle with this, and that gives the commission the opportunity to see what the scope of work is, and any builder, so you don't have the one builder giving one suggestion versus another one giving their suggestion. They're both working from the same document. I mean, I don't know what your power requirements are, or what the toilet facilities are, or what the...
We don't have any toilets.
I mean, it sounds rather kind of rustic, so...
Primitive.
Yeah, you're
Very
primitive.
It's
So
nice.
it's
Well, rustic's nice to a point.
you know, I don't know if that's a consideration, and then, you know, the whole issue of rising floodwater is an issue. If it's on pilings, maybe, you know, you could add some cribbing to the top of those pilings and then just lift the building up. That may be something worth investigating. And there's a cost associated with that. And that, you know, brings forward some of these other ideas about what's happening with rising water. It's a serious problem.
By the way, just a side note, there is a feasibility study that is about to launch, and it's all about the town docks, the condition of the town docks. And part of this report that we should have probably midsummer will give us some indication of where they think water levels will be 100 years from now.
Oh, good.
100 years from now?
100 years, that's part of the study.
I'd like to know something a little sooner than that.
I mean, everybody's talking about lifting everything. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? It's not just the shack, it's probably the town dock as well, which has been underwater more than once. I'm sure will again.
The other thing I would say is that I know that's not an old building, but I think it's very important to the historic district. I mean, it's a big part of the presence down there at the docks. And,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just thinking out loud that, you know, you could theoretically look at a modular building that could replace it in kind, where it could be built to new standards and just basically put back onto the foundations, which in a controlled environment, you might get a better building and it might cost less as an idea. I know it's historic fabric, but it's saying it's not particularly old if Chip designed it. So, you know, it could be the copy of what's there.
And would you gotta bring on a trailer?
Bring on a trailer, put it on a crane, you take your existing pilings, raise them all up, however much you need, 2 feet or so, and suddenly you put this thing back on there and it has a composting toilet inside it. And it's like, you know, suddenly you've got this thing that's sealed and it's insulated and it's made in a workshop. It could, and those things are automated now, so in a sense that the cost of building, the most expensive thing in building is the labor. So if you can build it in a controlled environment, you might be able to get something like that. It's an idea.
Oh, what a precedent that would set. That means that every building down there can be.
No, it doesn't.
It's a precedent. And precedent counts.
Well, if you say so. It's a town building, and is it a historic building?
Yes, only because it's in the historic district. And the other buildings in the historic district are considered historic, even though they are
It's a thought
fairly
experiment.
new. I think it's a terrible precedent. We have an example of that across the street. But they went around it in a different way. But
Okay, so, I mean, I think you've heard our comments.
Some very good advice, and I appreciate all of this.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I think it's an important building, and you know, we want to help.
Okay.
Help them do
In
the right
terms of
thing.
the timing for the CPC, you probably won't be able to meet the December meeting, which is a week from now. I mean, you can't really get this done that fast. So maybe January, could that be possible, that he could come before CPC in January? And we could do an interim reaction to what is presented?
in the past, we've only allowed that in the case where there was negotiation over price of property for conservation. I'm trying to remember anything that we came in at the last minute. We've had like place settings. You could come in kind of and try to explain what you're trying to do, but you aren't going to be able to come in with any pricing at all. I think your best bet is CIPC.
Well, they may very well say,
But-
okay, you're on the list.
But then you have to deal with the historical commission, with them too. This is a dilemma.
But it's okay to come back to us, say in January, early January, you have a little of this work
Yeah.
done, and then you have at least,
So
I mean,
you
that
can
could be
come
a
in
plan.
and just a short presentation that you
Mhm.
would like to be considered. This is what you'd like to do, but it may be necessary to do a little more, and you'd come back in January.
To WHC, and then
To
you
the-
have the document you
To
need.
come here
Right.
and to go.
See
But
what
I
this-
think, given what you've asked him to do, it's gonna take some time. It's
Can
Christmas
can
coming.
you explain to us a little more how we interact with CIPC and?
You don't.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
but you said we're a part of the process.
Yes, you have, it's in the historic district.
Mhm.
I don't ever remember anything with CIPC in the historic district.
Okay,
Not
so if
20
he goes the
years.
CIPC route, then we don't have a role. If he goes
Yes, you do.
CPC,
Your role is to approve what he does. And then he asks CIPC for that. When are the deadline for that? February?
Actually, no, I've already presented to them. They have taken all of their proposals and put them in 3 categories. I can tell you that we are one of the number ones, but all the number ones add up to more money than is available. So somebody's gonna have a chair missing when the music stops.
okay.
And I
So-
wanna make sure it's.
So Betty, you're saying that we would need to issue a certificate of appropriateness
CA.
before a CIPC grant could be applied for? Is that what you're saying?
Not before it can be applied for, but before it can be granted.
Granted, okay, and
Before
what's
it
their
can be
grant
granted.
cycle?
That's why I'm asking, when do they make?
So they have a meeting on the 10th,
Of December?
December.
Okay.
Well, you
And
can't make that one, but
Can't
maybe you
make
can
that
make the
one.
January. Do they have a January meeting? Do they do monthly?
That I don't know.
We can't do anything until January unless you come before us. Well, December is now, so January is the next possible meeting that you could get a CA from us, which means you'd have to have a scope and some idea of what you're doing.
And a building inspection. I
Well,
think
starting
that's,
with the inspection.
starting with the inspection, then going from there, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I mean, that wouldn't be necessary for a certificate of appropriateness.
Right.
Because we don't really care about, I mean, we care about how the building's gonna look when it's finished. Whether it's sound or not, it's not really in our purview. So,
I get that, but just for the sake of responsibility.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and also in our role as advising the CPC on whether this is a worthwhile project. I think we need to know whether the building is sound.
So just to review what the steps are, it seems like from Tim's suggestion, you sounded like you would like the idea of getting an assessment from a building inspector,
Mhm.
just to get a sense of the whole condition.
Yes.
And then develop your scope, which won't take too much longer after you have that report. And then you'll see what that report says, come up with that scope. If you can do all that by early January, what's the date that we have to do notice? It would be 2 weeks before that meeting, so
It's
we have to, you don't have to have the plan completed, but you have to have a notice to the community that you're gonna be before us for a certificate of appropriateness.
December 17th.
That means the application has to be in hand by
Right.
the 17th, and then we would do a notice. And then you'd come before us in January, and we'd issue or not issue your certificate of appropriateness, and then you go and you get your CIPC grant potentially, knowing that you've got support here.
So if I understand you correctly, regardless of who funds this, that certificate of appropriateness has to be in place first.
I think so, and I think you need that base covered to go to the next
Yeah, I
step.
mean, that would depend on the funding organizations, what their rules are. But you could pursue the certificate of appropriateness independently from these
Independent
other.
funding.
I mean, you could, put together a plan, I want to put in these windows, I want to, shingle the exterior, I want to put in this door. You could put that all together in a proposal, and we could approve that without knowing whether the building is sound, without knowing anything else about it. And separately, you could be doing the building inspection, you could be doing whatever the granting organizations require you to do.
I mean, the granting organizations, one of their first questions to you will be, do you have permission to do this? And that's where we come in. So if you've covered that base already, then you can continue the process from any of these funding organizations.
I just had to find out how to get to first base
Yeah.
before I
Yeah.
went to the next step, so. Well, I appreciate all your time and your expertise, and it's a lot clearer now than it was when I walked in, so I thank you for all that.
commend you for taking a strategic point of view and spending your time doing research that is leading to some useful
Yeah, you know, I thought Harbor Master was just playing around in boats and being Joe Hero. Nah, nothing like that.
This is important. I think you've done a good first step now, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks for coming in. If he's getting a CA on just the exterior renovation, and then the CPC is gonna fund it, we also have to have an opinion about whether it's a worthwhile project.
Right.
Then it becomes a soundness question.
Right.
There's two pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
Deeply
I'll
ashamed that I
take
didn't
these,
have them
thank you.
before. There are 2 copies.
That's quite all right. Thank you so much.
Okay. For the record, we just received photos of the property that was first on the agenda, 1878D. Okay. So I noticed that I didn't have my mic on. I don't know if anybody else would.
Oh.
Do you have the mic?
Are you hearing us?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I can reach.
Ward, can you
Thank you.
deal with that?
Sure.
Here, this is
And
longer.
also, you know what? Let's do this. I'll trade.
Why don't we switch?
Let me switch.
I've always wanted to switch mics.
I think it's now.
Is that
Is
worse
that
or
better? Why don't I give you mine?
It's okay.
I can speak.
Got this.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Westport Historical Society presentation on proposed clapboard repairs at the Bell School. And let's
Was
see.
it possible CPA funding?
These are all CPC matters, for possible CPA funding.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I thought letter A says possible CPA funding of harbor master renovations.
Yeah, so we discussed that a little bit as we were going along.
That's, oh, so that's covered.
It was
There's
embedded.
no additional information that we need.
Yeah, that,
Okay,
It was all kind of compressed into one
was it
discussion.
not covered to your satisfaction, Betty?
I mean, we don't have a recommendation. You covered the topic.
We covered the
But you
topic.
haven't given us a recommendation, you can't.
Which we
until you-
cannot.
Until you know what they're going to do.
Right, which we
Okay.
just reviewed what the
We're
process
waiting
would
until
be.
January for that.
Yeah, January would be the right time, if he
But
comes forward.
in December, he can do it. I don't know what he's gonna end up doing, I'll talk to him.
Okay, but as far as the
Fine.
CPC is concerned, we're all set, okay.
That's covered, that item is covered.
Okay, so let's go ahead with the Bell School, and just a reminder, we did discuss this at our last meeting, and we asked for
Yes.
more information and some site visits, which I think were
I
done
think
by
Mark did a site
Mark
visit,
and Bill. Did you ask?
and Bill too.
I also
Okay.
went,
Katrina.
Did you go too?
yes.
Okay. Yvonne Barr, Westport Historical Society. And as you know, I was here last month and couldn't answer some of the questions that you had. So I tried to anticipate all of that in what I passed out to you, which gives you an idea of what the method is going to be and what the materials we would use.
So I'm not sure that those made it, did those make it all the way
I
around?
sent what Yvonne sent, by
Sorry to
email.
interrupt you. But she had some documents that were passed around, including this. And what do you want to do?
There might be another
Passed
one.
her.
Yeah,
She
okay.
brought something else in tonight, so.
Yes, so
It
there,
was just this narrative of the treatment and then this picture of the clapboards.
okay, so the two more of those.
Can we
So,
share then?
Okay, and then these.
You guys share?
There's the one, yeah. Great.
I can
Did you guys get a
I-
picture of the clapboards down there? With this picture?
That was in the email.
I think there were also some copies sent out.
Did I not bring enough? I thought I brought 12.
It's okay, we can
It's
share.
okay, yeah, we can pass it.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. And to that end, I would also show you the materials that I brought along as samples of what we propose using. You had asked about the clapboards, and this is an example of a clapboard that would be used, which is pre-primed on both sides. And the nails that are recommended didn't ask about the house wrap. This is what we would propose to use for that. It's a 30-pound shelf felt.
And what's the life on that?
The life of that is at least 50 years. It's comparable with anything else.
And why not something like ice and water shield, or something that would
Yeah, we're not, that seems to be counter-indicated for
breathing.
breathing covers.
Yeah, interesting.
Because this is the best product that everyone, we talked with all kinds of experts in the field about whether to do this or not do this, whether to have various kinds of insulation, and the opinions were mixed, but overall was there's some question, and if there's question, I don't think we should do it, or we felt we shouldn't do it. And this is as good a recommendation as anything else. The only advantage to the others would be the possible savings on utilities, and that would be a tough payback. So, anyway, anybody want to?
So is this part of the building unoccupied?
Possibility what?
Is this part of the building unoccupied?
No, it's occupied.
Okay,
It's
so
occupied.
internal temperatures an uninsulated building are not an issue?
Well, the roof is insulated with
Yeah.
foam,
Yeah.
and that's where the major loss would be through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And the windows are problematic, but they'll be taken care of with this new arrangement.
Yeah.
I did visit the site, and the clapboards appear to be original. They're applied with the ones that are there.
The windows.
There's some repair. The clapboards are, to me, you can't tell unless you take a clapboard off and look at the back of it. But they have the square nails.
What I showed you in the picture is a joint where old clapboard and the newer clapboard of the 1970s bulkhead was attached.
Mhm.
You can see that it would be substantially the same.
Right. So you're replacing all the clapboards on the building?
Yes.
And the question last time was, are the clapboards that are on there original to the building?
There aren't that many. There are pieces of old clapboards, but not that many. And the oldest clapboards do not have any paper protection
No,
or
right.
anything behind
Sure.
them. So they have deteriorated.
Okay. You can't tell if they're original until you take off and look at the back of it for the saw marks. It's a water wheel saw. Those little marks that go up and down like that. So-
Unfortunately, we don't have anything like that.
Well, I mean, you haven't looked at the back of the shingles. You haven't taken the clapboard off.
Yes.
You have? Well, anyway, it's irrelevant. I think that what they're planning is excellent. It's not something we like to see, original clapboards, but there aren't that many of them. There's been a lot of repairs of the clapboards, from what I can see.
So many that it's hard to distinguish.
Katrina and Mark, do you have anything to add about?
No, I think the only thing I would add is, given the sample here, the profile is very consistent with what is on the majority of the building, and so I think that it would be absolutely acceptable.
And using the stainless steel nails, the ring
We
nails
would
are
be
very,
using
very good.
stainless steel nails.
And they're going to be sunk in, and you're going to use a putty on it.
That is correct.
Mark, what can you add?
This is a simple problem out of space, but not when you really get down into it. I did look at the plans. This is, I think, going to look like it was made to a much higher standard, just the surface. I don't know what material that is, I assume
It's cedar.
Cedar.
Again, this comes back to, it's a historical building because it was a school, as much as what the materials are in it currently, given the fact that we don't really have a good record of that. This is like a favorite because it qualifies, it makes our whole community have a great balance.
I'm sorry, Mark, I'm having trouble.
I'm having trouble hearing you too. Can you say that again, please?
Well, in looking at it, and looking at how it has been treated, it has been moved and then replaced, and there's a new habitable building below it that's just about the size of the building above it. Many things have been done to it, which are all favorable, but not necessarily historic.
That's right.
So I think that this has to be handled in the context of its evolution. I think, buildings become historic not just because of what we see, but what has happened in them, or how they fit into a pattern of other activities that make the whole that we want to take a stall.
Yes, I agree with you. And from the interior of the building, as I'm sure you might remember, you can read that.
Yes.
Because the various repairs have changed over time, but we haven't tried to make anything uniform of a modern type, but rather so that it speaks for the time the repairs were made.
All these cues that we have, it's a difficult call, what history is and what the perspective is we bring to assess that.
But I think at least my understanding, the Bell Schoolhouse wasn't preserved as the schoolhouse. It was repurposed, so it would remain historical. We preserved it in that it wasn't going to fall down, but it is now a functional place for the Historical Society to store artifacts, to have exhibits, to invite the public in to learn about the town. I think that, in contrast, the Handy House has been, and I'm going to use these words very naively, preserved. It's historic. You go to the Handy House and it looks like it was built in the 1700s. The wind rips through it and we're keeping it, weather tight, but it's not being repurposed. It's rather museum-like. Whereas I think the Bell Schoolhouse, we created a community function for it. So I think that's the difference. And so for me, for them to replace the clapboards with, this cedar profile is a lovely opportunity to, again, keep the schoolhouse, upright and watertight and alive and well and purposeful for the community. I understand that we might not be preserving it as a schoolhouse, and that ship sailed, probably 100 years ago when the building was allowed to go into disrepair. But, I think that for what you want to do, this suits what the purpose is at this point.
Questions?
I'm not
Comments?
clear about the entire scope of it, and I haven't been to the building in many years, so I'm just sort of trying to understand it from this photograph and from this description. But is it one entire wing? Is it the entire building?
It's the entire building, but you understand that there was a new addition, which was finished in 1920 2024.
Hmm.
And this would,
All right, then I need to stop by and have a look.
so this would deal with the rest of the building.
Hmm.
And the addition has been sided with the same clapboard. The addition, does it have these clapboards on it already?
Oh, yes,
Okay, so
So
matching,
it'll match.
matching what's there, yeah.
yes, everything will look uniform.
Seems about right.
I would do one thing, I think, if you find it's, so to speak, a demolition of the part, if there are more likely, if you can find parts that would have been original, I would think that it would be very wise and helpful to photograph and dimension those, so that generations that follow won't think that this is historic, which it is not. It's not made historic. It will be a very different set of instruments that make each line in as it circles the building more uniform than it ever would have been. And carpenters, unlikely ship's rights that came and built something here while the ships weren't out. I'd say that anything that you can preserve, as I think you have in small pieces of this, as it originally would give us the other side, or one of the other sides of being historic. The fabric, I think, is probably historic more for all the materials you have brought together and made really a record point for the town, very important, than what the building is, which is a kind of a collection of various ways of just fixing something that never had a good operating budget, but had a lot of community support.
Well, one of the things that you've just given me the thought is that when we do remove old clapboards, we can save some.
Well, and particularly, there may be some that do go back to one of the original construction periods that might give us a good idea, not about just this, but the type of construction that we were capable of doing at that particular time. All of these things, there's nothing that's really historic anymore. But I think Handy House is a great example. But I go in there and see electric lights, and I'm scratching my head as to which period we're in. It's a matter of tolerance. But
I
just
think somebody lived there until somewhat recently, right? So they got to have some plumbing and electricity.
Anyone who hasn't been there should go to the basement, because what the basement and the second floor have is the history of the town, not the history, so to speak, not a building that's historic. Anyway, very ample, good bomb shelter down there where Johnny had worked for materials because of your action and others. They do preserve it. That's tremendously important. But any details, simple, any details that you see that might have original nails in it, or other things that were appropriate to the community at the time, preserve those.
Yes, we've done some of that at the Handy House. And that's part of its purpose, is to be able to show the materials and the method of construction. And the Bell School doesn't quite warrant that. So,
Great.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Thanks, Yvonne.
So, Ben, I just want to understand, you want from us approval maybe is not the recommendation that the CPC approve these changes to the work. Is that correct?
No, you don't have to tell us what we need to do, just say that you recommend the use of these particular clapboards.
Materials.
That's all you have to say.
Okay.
And that we can take that from there and move.
Okay.
Okay, so, do I hear a motion to,
I'll move that we
To-
recommend
to-
these materials to the CPC for this project.
Second,
is this the right language, right?
It's perfect.
Okay, okay. We have a motion, it's been
Second.
seconded. Let's do a roll call vote. Starting with Mark.
Ward Mooney approved.
Deborah Chialfi approved.
Garrett Stuck, aye.
William Kendall, aye.
Timothy Bryant, aye.
Caroline Bolger, aye.
Okay.
Great.
We've approved the recommendation.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes.
To this? So listening to this discussion, the idea of the materials that are original being preserved, that would be a good idea to tell people in the historic district, because we have seen people go in and throw out, not recently, but in the past, throw out materials into dumpsters, and the neighbors come along and pick them up. If you recommended to people to tell their builders, you know, we preserve these materials, at least on the interior, would be very helpful, because they change everything in the interior. If they would preserve it, would be helpful. The second is, this is preservation and rehabilitation. It's both. And you are covered by the Department of Interior, Secretary of Interior's rehabilitation guides. If you look at rehabilitation versus preservation, they accept, I mean, the country accepts that. That'd be helpful. The third is that the Handy House was built in three periods. That's the reason you're seeing these different things. It's 3 periods.
Thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
Okay, moving on to the next item on our agenda, a presentation by Paul Schmid on proposed installation of an ADA compliant ramp at the American Legion Hall at 489 Sanford Road.
Thank you very much, Chair Stuck, Vice Chair Chialfi, and committee members. I appreciate being put on the agenda. I'm commander of the American Legion Post 145 at 489 Sanford Road, and the proposal before you is to a ramp to allow the second floor of this building to be accessed by anyone. And I have some material for you. I have a sketch of the ramp. There's one for everybody. And I have site plan and 2 photographs of the building.
These are
The same.
Maybe we could just, if we could start with the site plan. That's the top page on the group. The site plan.
Got it.
Yeah. That just locates the building on 489 Sanford Road. Next, we have a photograph of the building showing its east face and its north face. And then third, in the group of 3, shows the building with its east side and its south side. And then finally, we have a sketch of the ramp, which would be located along the north side of the building, which would be back to this photograph. That's the north.
First.
It kind of comes out all the way. Also another drawing of it. Plan. You have it in.
I don't see the drawing.
It's on this,
You had it in here. You want to see it?
Well, we got it in an email. I'd just like to say that I have visited the site with Betty and Rudd Lawrence, and this goes back quite a few years, it seems. You know, we did a site visit and met with someone. Yeah, and discussed, you know, what was being needed. And then it did come before the commission. And the commission was very favorable to this new design. There were many different designs that were proposed, but this one that has been presented, that I've seen online, but I don't see it here in this packet.
Bill, the email that I sent to you was from an old proposal that was submitted to the CPC to provide context. And now we're getting the updated information.
That's the one that we've seen then.
You might have seen
prior.
this in the past, and now we're getting the updated version of how this ramp is going to get.
Okay, so this is what it's going to look like then? There's no
Well-
changes?
This is what they were provided from an old presentation.
Yes, the older presentation, which that was a sketch done by Tim Gillespie,
Yeah.
showed a ramp with 3 ramps,
Turns.
3
Well,
three
switchback-
parts to it, 3
switchbacks,
turns.
right?
Yes,
The switchback.
yes. And the proposal that we're putting before you today has it just 2. Doesn't have the 3rd switchback.
Where is this proposal? I don't see the drawing.
Yeah, that's the separate piece of paper.
This,
Oh, okay, okay.
But it's to be located in the location that you saw earlier. It's just instead of having 3 parts to it, it has 2.
Is this the,
does that mean the slope is a little bit higher because now you don't, it would have been a more gentle slope?
Yeah, now the slope is as proposed, but we found that the change in elevation
Could
isn't
accommodate.
quite enough, quite as much as we thought, so we can do it in 2 tranches, if
Right.
you will.
and is this the sketch that shows it in plan? Or is that an old?
That is an old sketch, I think.
Yeah, everything you have in the email is from old sketch.
See, those were proposals
All the way
that,
up front.
Oh, that's 2000, yeah.
Yeah, they're old.
those were,
So-
those were other ideas that were brought before the commission.
Okay.
And it was this one that we saw here that had the 3 different inclined ramps that we were favorable to.
Yes.
The 3 versus the 2?
Well, no, now that he's come with the 2, we're certainly favorable
That's
to
better.
that.
Yeah, it's less complicated.
Mhm.
So where would
Yes.
the entry be on this? Would it
Uh,
just
uh,
would be in
it-
the front?
It would be in
Instead
the
of
front,
back? In the
yes.
front. That's easier too, to navigate to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the entrance bill would be here instead of way back here.
Yeah,
So it's just simpler.
Okay, so it still goes along the side of the building?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
you keep in mind that this building has been moved and put up on that foundation, right?
I think they're just taking away the.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, the way it sits up high on the basement is because it's been moved over there. So
Yes.
we're not seeing the school in its original setting.
Yeah, the 2nd floor now was the 1st floor.
Sure.
And when it was moved across the street, it was put on a foundation that gave it its 1st floor.
Could I ask you, I think it seems it might be a question. This, this ramp will now do more to change the character of the building than almost anything it might. Have you considered, they're becoming less and less expensive as they're higher volume, of thinking of just a small elevator?
We certainly have, and we concluded that first, we thought about the matter of safety, and we thought about the time, in the event there was a problem in the building, we thought about the time to have someone enter the elevator and then come down to the ground, get off, the elevator comes back up, to let a possible second person. And we thought about that fire in Fall River
Yeah, absolutely.
this summer, and we thought, we're concerned about safety issues. Secondly, it would be an outside lift, and we thought about the maintenance required on an outside lift. So to us, and then of course, we could construct an inside elevator shaft, but that's a project of an entirely different level. So thinking through issues of safety, we thought a ramp really provides the best egress in the event of a problem.
And the maintenance is fairly low.
And the maintenance is low. On an elevator, there's an annual maintenance fee, and we run on a very limited budget, and just we don't have room for anything significant.
And a lot of those elevators that you see, they need a key to access them, and the key is often misplaced when you need it, which I've experienced with my son many times. It's hard to get them to be reliable, so.
You also need a generator, because the electricity has to come in, and you have to maintain the generator, which costs about $500 a year. And an elevator has to be maintained again.
And
Yeah, thank you,
inspected.
Betty, that's
And
right.
inspected.
Very importantly, if you'd like a little history, this came to you were on, I believe, on the commission. It came, it was approved, CPC put the funding out for it. Then they came to CPC and said, we would like to do a lift. And the lift is not an elevator, but a lift. And we said, fine, because that's even better, cheaper. Turned out it was not. And then, and also the whole issue of the safety that's happening now when, buildings there's several elderly people in the American Legion. And to get them all out would be impossible if it was a fire, if the electricity went. So the idea of the ramp, which was the case in the nursing home in Fall River, saved many lives. It just switched the whole concept. So that building already has so many changes. As you see, it's been lifted up, it's got the porch in the front, etc. But the inside, they've tried to maintain, and CPC has financed the roof, the septic system, and the inside. Pete Baker, Geraldine Millam, people like that worked on the inside of the windows. So they've done their best to maintain that. So that's the reason that we're back to a ramp. CPC could have said, well, they approved a ramp before, but I said, no, we want to hear your opinion.
Okay,
You've
so-
already approved a ramp.
Right. So to be clear, so we're talking really about a change,
It's changing the
and
ramp.
the change is from
And the
3
materials
legs.
used, that's what I also wanted to know.
Okay, so first of all, the shape, I mean, we're talking about a change from three
From two
three
switch
legs to
to
2
one.
legs.
Exactly.
Okay. And then there's a further change in materials?
I don't know. I don't remember what was approved.
I don't either.
You can
But,
see what the materials were.
But we know there was some, previously on the side, I remember that the stairway had something called nearwood, or it was
It says
not
gray
wood, but it
composite
was.
decking.
Pardon me?
It says gray composite decking, so it's probably like a Trex or
It's
a,
decking,
break
but there was
down the
also
cost.
the difference in the,
Yeah, we thought we'd use the same material as we used on the construction of the
For this porch.
to make it just fit in with both the front porch and the side porch.
well, I
So,
think it's great, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's great and probably long overdue. So,
Well, you know, the purpose of the building, of course,
exactly.
is to provide, in addition for the American Legion to meet, we now let the Boy Scouts use the second floor. And in the future, we'd like to redo our kitchen facilities to make them usable. And then it can be a venue for the north end of town to use. So we see much more usage in the future.
Excellent.
I think it's great.
Can I just ask one further question?
Yes.
Sorry. Which is the most prominent elevation as far as the public? I'm just not familiar with the particular site. Which is the, where is there a road here?
The roads in the front here.
Yes,
Just this one?
this faces the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no road here or here?
It's parking
Yeah, but there's no public thoroughfare here.
in the rear.
Yeah, no, is this the road? This is labeled as the road.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is
There's another property here.
property here and woods there.
Okay, so I mean, again, we're deciding whether to recommend to the CPC that, not that this project be approved, but this would be a good project. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Moving to approve?
Is there a second?
I move as well, I agree. We should recommend to the CPC that we endorse this project.
Okay, let's do a roll call vote, starting with Mark.
I'll withhold my vote.
Abstain.
Okay, abstain.
I vote aye.
Deborah Chialfi, aye.
Jared Stuck, aye.
William Kendall, aye.
Timothy Bryant, aye.
Caroline Boger, aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
There
you.
you have it, Betty. Yeah.
So we'll follow up
Don't go
with a
back to
note
the lift.
to Betty, so
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, next item, general business monitors reports. Are there any monitors reports?
I have one, it's a partial launches report. Marina Faeli, who did the solar array on Main Road. The array is in place, but the fence is not yet in. So it's actually a good time to go and see it, because you can see a little bit of it without the fence, and then when she puts the fence in, it will be completely obscured by the fence. But it's interesting how low they put it on the back of her little hill there. So it's next to the post office. So if you just walk down, have you walked down, have you gone? Yeah, you can just see a
Barely.
bit of it, and it's
Yeah.
really hidden
Did a great
even
job.
without the fence. So I think the fence was the right
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
It was well done, yeah. It'll be in the monitor's report when the fence gets done.
Okay.
There, I should know the number. It's the other Drift Road property where we approved, the solar panels.
Martha Slate.
The roof is
Right.
completed, and now we're just waiting for the solar panels to go on. So partway done, good progress, but she's been great in terms of letting us know what's
Right.
happening.
Yes.
I've seen the emails back and forth. She's really on top of it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Any other reports? Okay, next item, the 2026 meeting schedule, which I've passed around. So you'll recall that we agreed to meet on the first Wednesday of every month next year, starting in January. And so I've prepared a schedule. Does everybody have a copy? I've got one more copy here. Point out that the February meeting is on Thursday because I'm not going to be here on Wednesday. If that's okay with people. Just take a minute and see if you see anything that stands out to you. I tried to accommodate the holidays. So there's a meeting on July 1st, which should be okay. Yeah.
September 3rd.
Shouldn't conflict with too many things now that it's the middle of the week, the 3-day weekends that we sometimes run into. So it should be a little easier.
That's right. We don't have the Monday holidays to worry about. So, and I have reserved a room.
No fighting over that, Garrett?
The
You showed up one time.
The town's mechanism for reserving a room needs work, and I think they are working on it. So calendar.
Are we here?
We're here.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, okay. Any other business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.